Well, good morning, and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. As you can imagine, it is a very dark morning and a dark day as Charlie Kirk, as you are well aware, has been assassinated. That is going to be the majority of the show this morning, along with, in the 7 o'clock hour, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski, who made an amazing post last night in regards to this. Many of you, I would imagine, are like me. I avoided social media as much as possible when I first started to see some of the pure evil that people were posting. So I decided, instead of sending a message on Facebook or Instagram, or that's really all I have, I decided we're going to talk about it here together on Frankly Speaking this morning. We do have some viewer comments. I'm sure I missed some because it was such an ongoing story throughout yesterday. Many of us glued to our TV, as this one viewer just commented. A sad morning. Absolutely a sad morning. There's so many comments coming in, and that's why I'm glad that we can be on the air together this morning to talk about it, because it is pure evil that happened yesterday. And as so many have said, we do now have a martyr in Charlie Kirk. It broke late last night that the person of interest has been released and the gunman is still at large, according to the FBI. We're going to go through all the information, all the quotes that we can get to this morning. First, let's start with the important quotes from viewers. I, like so many others, this was at 4:40 this morning. I, like so many others, am not sleeping tonight. I know a lot of people want to blame someone for the tragic events of yesterday, mostly the left. Watching some of the things the left does seems crazy, but I don't want to kill them. So let's play a game of what if. What if someone came across our open border from another country, and you place whatever country, and was of another faith perhaps, and wanted to really divide the country even farther? How would you do it? Do the most despicable act possible to one side or the other. This person didn't kill one of our political leaders. They killed a person with a voice of reason and of faith, our country's faith. In closing, let's not go down a rabbit hole where we can't back out of. I think someone really wants us fighting from within. Smarter heads will prevail. Thank you for that comment. Yes, many of us could not sleep. I would agree. Comment from a different viewer. I'm certain that you will be inundated by viewer comments, but I'm sitting here stunned, sad, and sick about Charlie Kirk's assassination. I've been a follower on his podcast, and I've been amazed by his ability to talk to people and get them engaged and stand up for his religious beliefs without apology or fear. He gave hope to our youth at a time when things are grim, and gave me hope for their future as well. Joe Sempolinski made a Facebook post this evening, and please let him know it was spot on. Thank you, Frank, as always. We will tell Joe that, because it was spot on. We have a lot of heartfelt tributes and comments this morning from elected leaders that we're going to get to in just a little bit. Ken writes in, the political murder of Charlie Kirk brings so many thoughts to my mind. The left propagandizes the sheeple against the right and gets their desired results. Their long-standing belief is that the ends justify the means. The more mentally unstable sheeple believe that the people labeled as MAGA are actually an existential threat to humanity, as they are being told. Charlie was reversing the indoctrination of our youth by the left. They had to stop it. The message the left is sending is that conservative voices should be afraid to speak out. And you're not the only one that said that, Ken. There's numerous people who have said now that people trying to save this country have a target on their back. But I'll continue. With the distance of the shot and the quick escape, initially it seemed like a professional paid assassin. I read that of all places this morning on CNN, where they had some type of expert on this, and they were saying this was someone who has clearly shot a lot and had this really meticulously planned. Continuing, how devoid of humanity and compassion are some of the people on social media that are plotting his murder? I'm not one of those people that would say, unfollow me if you don't believe me, or unfollow this. I was shocked at some of the comments I saw from people I knew were of one political affiliation, but never thought that they would stoop to that level. And sadly, we know social media is kind of the garbage heap of society in many ways. I was shocked at those in the mainstream media, but also elected quote unquote leaders who use this as a way to blame the victim, essentially saying because of what he said, he got what he deserved in no uncertain terms. And yes, it has cost some people their jobs. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But to see the media twist this, and then to see what some elected leaders, especially the elected leaders, even that had nice things or thoughtful things to say, but you know that their rhetoric has not matched what they now say. We're going to talk about that later on as well. Continuing with what Ken had to say. How despicable are some of the legacy media that rushed to say he brought this upon himself? Sorry, I beat you to the punch, Ken. I didn't read that far ahead, but you're exactly right. This is yet another reason that somehow the lies pushed forward by politicians and the legacy media has to be stopped. Frank, I have so many thoughts that you wouldn't want to air. I think we're all in a fog. Karen sent us a quote of the week already this week, and then this means a lot, Karen. Frank, good morning. In honor of his life and death, here is a quote, one of many from a voice sadly cut short. A somber Karen's quote that she is sending in for the different quote this week, and I thought it was perfect. Charlie Kirk. It is part of our human nature to want to be liked. It is part of our human nature to worry about what others think of us. It is an attribute of greatness and of American exceptionalism to not surrender to our nature, but to be guided by an inner calling to persevere and to prevail no matter the personal cost. How perfect of a quote. Thank you, Karen, for sending that in. If you have not been following, the person of interest has been released and the gunman is still at large, according to the FBI. Kash Patel saying the subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. Now, even because everything needs to be political, even after something like this, it was shocking to see headlines suggesting that the FBI is failing. The FBI trying to blame Kash Patel or trying to, I guess, blame Doge cuts in some ways. The New York Post, spoke to the mother of the now exonerated person of interest, who described him as super shaken by the gruesome shooting he witnessed firsthand and then by his subsequent detention. The FBI has released a tip line urging attendees of Charlie Kirk's event at Utah Valley University to share information and footage to help the agency identify more answers. There are pictures floating around online from reputable sources, not just the social media. It shows what looks to be a person on top of the roof in the one building. The FBI said in a statement, the FBI is working alongside our local and state law enforcement partners in Utah to fully investigate and seek justice in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Anyone with information, photos, and videos from the incident can help the FBI identify more answers by sharing the files here. The tip line allows users to enter information and descriptions of any attached photos and video files. Attendees can also include their name and contact information alongside the uploaded content. As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake City field office responded immediately, said the special agent in charge, Robert Bowles. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside our partners. Now, last night, there was vigils held across the United States. Politicians, faith leaders, fellow conservative activists, and others mourned Kirk's death, while with some announcing vigils to stand against political violence in the wake of his murder. Turning Point USA campus chapters at colleges across the country organized vigils on late last night for the organization's founder. I know that his place of worship, the church that he attended, had a vigil as well that was streamed online. That was late. I personally missed it, though I would have liked to have seen it. I think it was at 10 o'clock last night. Russell Johnson, lead pastor at the Pursuit in Washington State, wrote, in response to the reprehensible and senseless murder of Charlie Kirk, we're gathering tonight at Westlake Park in Seattle at 7:30 p.m. for a time of prayer, worship, and solidarity. or solitary, excuse me, as we take a stand against the senseless political and religious violence in America. The president has honored Charlie Kirk with the flags at half staff. That happened, around probably 6 o'clock, because I know many of you, if you, like me, heard it, kind of rushed home to get in front of the television to see exactly what was being said. I know some probably received the horrific video. Representative Luna, I think it is calling for the video to be taken down off of social media. I don't think that'll happen, unfortunately. I did not watch the video. That's not something I am ever going to put myself through. But when people started calling me and texting me and saying this doesn't look good, and then the president announced it probably an hour and a half into watching the coverage, announced that he had passed away, and he had sent out a email and posted on Truth Social saying, in honor of Charlie Kirk, a truly great American patriot, I'm ordering all American flags throughout the United States lowered to half-mast until Sunday evening at 6 p.m. And I'm not going to read the whole proclamation because he did give he recorded a message that we're going to talk about in the next segment. We're going to go through this is going to be a tough show, folks. We are, because Joe Semplinsky has been kind enough to join us in studio, we will obviously be talking to him about Charlie Kirk, but also we will change up the topic a little bit. He's coming in from a long way, and I want to find out about some New York State issues while we have him here, and I hope you don't mind that. So if you do have questions, please feel free to send them in for Joe Semplinsky. Please keep these comments coming in. I know people sending waves with the heartbroken emoji. That's what it is. It's heartbreaking this morning. This is unfortunately the violence, the political violence. This has become too commonplace to have such somber shows and somber conversations. One thing I did think of, though, last night, because especially in radio, I interviewed so many people. I never had the honor of interviewing Charlie Kirk, and I got thinking about it. There's been two people that were major missed opportunities, and both were on track to happen. That there was some, back and forth emails to handlers or whatever, and something happened, and it got canceled. And in my mind, not that I made probably this conscious thought, but there'll be times in the future where I can book that person and have the conversation about a different topic. So I'm not going to push the issue or try to reschedule it right away. And two of those people, and I think there's something to be said about this. One was Charlie Kirk. The other one was Andrew Breitbart. Two opportunities of two people whose lives were cut too short, that were such a powerful voice for the conservative movement. So let's take a break. Keep your comments, keep your really thoughts and prayers that you're sending in. Yes, I hate to do it, but there are going to be times where in this show we have to show you how despicable some people are. I'm not going to personally read some of the individuals that I saw on social media, or people that aren't at some type of level in the media or in politics, because I think there's a lot of people that after last night clearly need some type of help, spiritual health, mental health, help, because it's bad enough to turn political. I saw in an article on CNN yesterday when I was scrolling through before he had even passed. They're saying the last question he answered was about transgender shooters, and they gave his quote, his answer, and they still felt the need to put a disclaimer in there to try to almost discredit him. And I thought that early on, this is before he had even officially been declared passed, and I thought this is what we're dealing with. So we knew it was going to get political, and unfortunately I think we have to have that discussion. Before that, it's going to be difficult. We're going to read some of the tributes and some of the statements that are made, because I think that is very important. And most importantly, your statements. So stay with us. It is going to be a very somber, obviously, program. But I'm glad that you've joined us this morning. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
This isn't your father's library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine rentals, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships. We're a family, and I try to emphasize that.
At Penn State Wrestling, we preach excellence and try and strive every single day to be better than we were the last. It's very clearly resembled here at Blaze Alexander, and Blaze as a man and who he is.
You've got to repeat the process so many times to get it right. But once you get it right, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it the same way every time, every day without fail. No exceptions, and it works.
Blaze Alexander, where champions drive.
Fall in New York State is unforgettable. From breathtaking views in every hue to adventure around every corner. It's the perfect place to get away. But don't just take our word for it. Come and see it for yourself. New York State, everything you love. Plan your next trip at iloveny.com.
Fox Sports app isn't just any sports app. It's your sports app. Your teams, your highlights, your scores. Get more of what you want. To the end zone. Stream your teams live. It's free with your pay TV subscription.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We have, comments coming in. I'll get to as many of them as I can, and we'll do more in the next segment. Viewer writes in, Frank, it was assassination, not a shooting. I believe I did use both terms. I agree with you 100%. It's assassination. It was obviously no intent to downplay what happened. Probably just off the top of my head said shooting, but I know I said assassination throughout the morning. In the House yesterday, a woman suggested they have a moment of silence for Charlie, and boos and no's could be heard from the Democrats. The speaker said he would do it later, and that's the one the cameras show where they didn't boo. Yeah, we have that a little bit later on. You lose a lot of faith in humanity sometimes, don't you? I have some other examples of that. Mark writes in, it's a very tragic thing that happened to Charlie, and my thoughts are with his family. But on the other hand, I believe who did this should get the firing squad live on TV, then the violence might stop. I saw the Utah governor saying that they still have, made it very clear, I think Trump did too, made it very clear that they still have the death penalty. President Trump called the assassination of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk a dark moment for America. Turning Point USA has had such an impact, and it has such an amazing legacy. I remember, I believe it was back in 2012-ish when he formed it. And I thought at the time, I was on radio, and I thought at the time, boy, I would have loved to have something like this on my college campus when I was there. And he was so really ahead of his time and made such a lasting difference. But I'll continue. To my great fellow Americans, I'm filled with grief and anger at this heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah, Trump said in a 4-minute video posted on Truth Social. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. He said that the conservative activist Charlie Kirk is now, and I quote, a martyr for truth and freedom. This is a dark moment for America, the president said. Trump blasted the radical left for comparing wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop now. And that was another thing. I don't want to talk anecdotal about social media, but that's one thing that I thought is very troubling. The people that equate what he said because they disagree with him, because they disagree with what he said, that was justifiable, that assassination was justifiable. And I'm not exaggerating that people put that. Some of it I would never, they're individuals, so I wouldn't read them anyway on the air. It's not worth our time. But the language that they used and the pure hate and evil, I could not imagine. I don't know, I can't think of anybody in the political world that my first thought would be to celebrate if they passed. And the thing to remember is Charlie Kirk wasn't a politician. He was out there changing hearts and minds, and I think that's what scared so many. Trump vowed that the administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to the other political violence, including the organizations that fund and support, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. The monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Melania Trump also sharing, and we'll get to J.D. Vance's, and that's going to be a tough one to read, but Melania Trump said, Charlie's children will be raised with stories instead of memories, photographs instead of laughter, and silence where their father's voice should have echoed. Charlie Kirk's life should serve as a symbolic reminder that compassionate awareness elevates family, love, and country. What an amazing statement. J.D. Vance, I think, we'll end this segment on what J.D. Vance had to say. We have a couple other comments that we want to get to, and we will unfortunately talk about the people that have politicized this. Vice President J.D. Vance shared a deeply personal remembrance of Charlie Kirk. He went on a lengthy post on X. He said, Charlie was fascinated by ideas and always willing to learn and change his mind. Like me, he was skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016. Like me, he came to see President Trump as the only figure capable of moving American politics away from the globalism that has dominated for our entire lives. Charlie was one of the first people I called when I thought about running for Senate in early 2021. We talked through everything from the strategy to the fundraising to the grassroots of the movement he knew so well. He introduced me to some of the people who would run my campaign and also to Donald Trump Jr. When I became the VP nominee, something Charlie advocated for both in public and private, Charlie was there for me. Charlie was constantly calling and texting, checking on our family, and offering guidance and prayers. He also shared some amazing stories. He said there was another, there we go. He also highlighted the father of two strong faith in Christ, saying Charlie genuinely believed and loved Jesus Christ. He had a profound faith. We used to argue about Catholicism and Protestantism and who was right about minor doctrinal questions. Because he loved God, he wanted to understand him. His true friendship and loyalty were valued by Vance, with the vice president recalling Kirk as a true friend, the kind of guy you could say something to and know it would always stay with him. He also credited Kirk with helping power the Trump movement in 2024, knowing that so much of the success we've had in this administration traces directly to Charlie's ability to organize and convene. I was talking to President Trump in the Oval Office today, and he said, I know he was a very good friend of yours. I nodded silently, and President Trump observed that Charlie really loved his family. The president was right. I was in a meeting in the West Wing when those group chats started lighting up with people telling me, Charlie, that they were praying for him. And that's how I learned the news that my friend had been shot. God didn't answer those prayers, and that's okay. He had other plans. And now that Charlie is in heaven, I'll ask him to talk to the big man directly on behalf of his family, his friends, and the country he loves so dearly. You ran a good race, my friend. We've got it from here. We will be right back. That's J.D. Vance. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
In the heart of nature, collisions happen when you least expect them. Deer hits can turn a tranquil drive into a chaotic moment. When the unexpected happens, turn to Scott's Collision. At Scott's Collision, we understand the frustration of unexpected encounters with wildlife. From dense to more extensive damage, we've got you covered. When nature and your vehicle collide, trust Scott's Collision to bring it back to life.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/BigFoxNews.
It started with a cake of ivory soap. The teacher said, well, each one of you has a cake of ivory soap. See what you can make. And I did a bird. I'm like a farmer that plants the cornfield and can't wait to see the sprouts and the corn come up and then harvest it. I'm sort of like that.
Let's start making every day better with a Hustelson's hot tub. Hustelson's has over $500,000 of inventory that must be sold. Savings up to 50% off. Every hot tub in stock save $1,000 to $5,000 off Hustelson's already low prices. Plus, free chemicals, free steps, free lifter, and free Bluetooth music. But for 4 days only, this Wednesday through Saturday. Hustelson's, your locally owned and operated hot tub store since 1955. So Hustelson's will be here for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hustelson's.
Dante Brown.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. I have a couple comments here. There's a lot more coming in. I'm not able to keep up as quickly as you're sending them in, but please keep them coming in. We need to start calling it what it is, an assassination. I agree. Media is largely to blame, and they must bring the temperature down, not worry about shock and awe inflammatory reporting. And unfortunately, that happened yesterday. There's numerous examples of it, which we are going to get to before Joe gets here. The left-leaning media has successfully stirred this entire country into a political frenzy. They have the power to change the way this country thinks for the better, to the better. Change it. Congressman Nick Langworthy released a statement yesterday saying Charlie Kirk was murdered for daring to speak the truth and defend freedom. He was a husband, a father, a follower of Jesus Christ, and a fearless American patriot. He fought relentlessly for a stronger America and never bowed to the forces of censorship or intimidation. His pride in our nation and his unwavering stand for free speech will never be forgotten. The extreme left chose today not to fight a war of ideas, but to indulge their derangement through cold-blooded murder, seeking to silence his voice forever. Let me be clear. Charlie's voice will never be silenced. His cause will only grow stronger. His fight will live on, and the movement he helped inspire will rise higher than ever. May God bless his beautiful family in this time of immense tragedy and loss. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I thought that was a wonderful statement from Congressman Nick Langworthy. Elise Stefanik, the House Republican leadership chairwoman, potential gubernatorial candidate, saying hearts across America are heavy, broken, and outraged after today's heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk. We mourn the irreplaceable loss of Charlie as a vibrant, iconic, conservative titan. Our country knows Charlie as a loving father of 2 precious children and a dedicated husband with a huge heart and deep love for America. The passionate patriot inspired a generation of young Americans as he fearlessly and boldly promoted free speech, religious liberty, and morality. I first met Charlie over a decade ago at an event in the Midwest as he was beginning to build what would become TPUSA. Such an extraordinary, impactful life, murderously cut short. Our deepest prayers and sympathy pour out to his wife, Erica, and their beautiful young children. May God bless Charlie, and may he rest in peace. That is another amazing statement. And that from Elise Stefanik. House Speaker Mike Johnson warned that America's toxic politics are fueling violence. We have to call out political violence. And the fact that there are people that aren't calling this out or that are saying, essentially insinuating that it was his own fault or that it was Trump's fault. J.B. Pritzker went that direction. We're going to get to those. I wanted to start with the honors, but I also realized that we are not going to have a lot of time this morning because I'm sure Joe Sempolinski has a lot to say about this as well. But let me get back to what Speaker Johnson said. We have to call out political violence. I think there is a recognition. Some are saying it openly, some more quietly, that the vitriol, the level that is there, now the hatred that has been fomented, there's a time that we've got to turn the volume down. What we have to recognize once more is that we are all fellow Americans. We should see one another as colleagues and fellow countrymen, not as enemies. That's not what Charlie Kirk represented. He loved the debate because he genuinely loved the people. He went on to confirm that as a result of the attack, lawmakers are requesting heightened security, calling it part of the new realities facing public figures. We have to take serious measures for serious times. There are deranged people in society. If they are encouraged along this way, they will do dangerous things. When you have people, politicians, the media fanning the flames before this, I mean, you look at someone like Gavin Newsom, who released a statement, but recently was attacking Charlie Kirk, was attacking Donald Trump. Netanyahu calling Charlie Kirk a lion-hearted friend of Israel. I spoke to him only 2 weeks ago, invited him to Israel. Sadly, that visit will not take place. We lost an incredible human being, Netanyahu said. RFK Jr. saying, once again, a bullet has silenced the most eloquent truth teller of an era. Wow. My dear friend Charlie Kirk was our country's relentless and courageous crusader for free speech. We pray for Erica and the children. Charlie is already in paradise with the angels. We ask his prayers for our country. So, well, let me just read a couple more. And then I do think we need to go to some of the, and I hate to do it, the more distasteful things on this. That I think, unfortunately, are part of the world we live in. We'll talk about that. But Franklin Graham said, what a tragedy. It has been announced that Charlie Kirk has died after being shot during an event at Utah Valley University today. This young man loved his country and invested his time and energy in trying to make it the best it could be. He stood boldly for conservative values and defended free speech for all of us. Most importantly, Charlie loved the Lord Jesus Christ. Pray for his wife, Erica, their two young children, and all of their family. It is in these moments of darkness that we need to stand on the scripture that Erica shared on social media. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Charlie Kirk's pastor was on social media. Pastor Rob McCoy. He said, my friend Charlie Kirk was murdered today by a coward. His life will be remembered for many wonderful things. He built it all with the power of the spoken word. He never used violence, but was threatened every day with violence by those who couldn't contend with logic and truth, And now they've done to my friend what evil always does. It takes away life. Charlie did not die, however, but instead he had begun to truly live. His life was secured eternally by his Savior, Jesus Christ. This truth allowed Charlie to face every threat with courage because he didn't fear death. All evil knows his death, and they will derive power from death. Charlie lived for life, and he will be remembered for this. Leaving this segment on this note, Representative, and I want to get your thoughts, Representative Eric Burleson from Missouri. He wants Charlie Kirk, or he believes Charlie Kirk should lie and rest in the Capitol Rotunda. America's done this before for private citizens like Reverend Billy Graham. Donald Trump can make it happen, and as I reflect on his impact, I have to come to the conclusion that no one had a greater impact on the political climate of the United States for the last decade than Charlie Kirk. So Representative Eric Burleson suggesting Charlie Kirk should lie and rest at the Capitol Rotunda. Your thoughts? Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
The Nissan Rogue takes hit after hit. Punished under immense pressure. And exposed to excessive wear. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. Now get 0% APR financing for 60 months on the 2025 Nissan Rogue, Pathfinder, or Murano.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
If you or one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Some comments. Jack thinks perhaps they need to take another look at bulletproof vests. Instead of ricocheting the bullet up, it should divert it, at least down. Maybe they could put ridges on the bulletproof vest to help direct it. Maybe it would just have gone into his leg if that was the case. I did not see that bit of information. Did he have a bulletproof vest? I thought, without getting too graphic, I thought the bulletproof vest would have helped that where it hit. Comment from a different viewer. There was a petition to prevent Charlie from speaking at the campus, which was signed by over 1,000 people. So that viewer wonders if maybe looking at that list, if someone was on that list that was a part of this assassination. Comment from Steve. Hi, Steve. It's a little lengthy. I might have to read fast here. What world are we living in today? Countries like the UK, where if you fly the British flag, you can be arrested because it is considered a hate crime now. British comedian arrested for making jokes. I saw that. Maybe where guns have been totally taken away from citizens, and now you have total government socialist control, and people have lost any and all rights they may have had. More people die from knives a year than guns. Did you know that? In New York, if you shoot someone, even in self-defense, they have been prosecuting people. They were even backdating self-defense occurrences a few years back. Background checks will do absolutely nothing for someone that is a criminal or has mental health issues. Those have even slipped through the cracks. New York, Illinois, California, D.C., Baltimore have super strict gun laws, yet they have the most shootings and killings. What do they all have in common? Extreme hoops, even for someone with a clean background. Once any restriction is put into place that infringes upon a legal citizen's right that our forefathers have put in place, it becomes a domino effect. That is why the Supreme Court is in the end all to help protect us. Yet there is 3 justices that vote on their beliefs, not what the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and amendments are there for our protection. Not meant for interpretation. People don't even realize how grateful they should be because we have them. We are only a couple of generations away from losing them. We are already losing them. When someone goes to jail for creating a meme about Hillary Clinton, which did happen, there would have been no comeback. Someone that actually had brought back religious beliefs to the forefront of what the basis for the founding of our country was deemed such a threat that someone took it upon themselves to shoot and kill him. The cracks in our foundation have been implemented for years and decades now. What they didn't realize is that we will reaffirm what Charlie Kirk is and was the voice for those that either couldn't speak or were afraid to speak. They want to use fear to control. This will have the complete opposite effect. We don't use hatred and violence. The only way they know how to express themselves. The line has been woken. Get ready for a movement that will not be forgotten. Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division, Harmit Dillon, said everyone working on behalf of the U.S. to improve it has a target on their back. I've urged them to carry. Senator Bernie Moreno was on Laura Ingram's program yesterday and said, I'm actually going to be honest, probably like a lot of people who knew Charlie, I don't think I processed completely. I met him as a kid. As a kid, he was a kid that came to see me. He had this big idea that he's going to transform young people, make them engage in the future of this country. And I got the opportunity to see him grow this little idea into this credible organization. And I think you can honestly say he changed this country, and that he brought to us, Laura, was this his idea that we can debate ideas, it's actually okay that we have different points of view. But Republicans and conservatives are being hunted right now. I just call it like it is. This is a political assassination. This was a lunatic hunted because of his views, because of his willingness. This was a lunatic hunting hunted because of his views. I think that was a typo. This was a lunatic because of his views, because of his willingness to share his opinions, which is what the left fears more than anything, because they have no opinions. It wasn't supposed to say lunatic. This was someone hunted because of his views. I think that was an autocorrect there. Justin Bateman, the actress, said House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is being criticized by Republicans after pledging Democrats would fight President Trump's agenda in the streets. I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. Jasmine Crockett went on. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over his head, like, hard, right? Jasmine Crockett said. And she went on with Tim Walz saying you got to be meaner, things like that. Politicians, people act on what you say. Watch what you say. Just 2 weeks ago, famed feminist website Jezebel paid witches on the website Etsy to curse Charlie Kirk. That happened 2 days before he was assassinated. The unsettling article ripped Charlie Kirk before recounting how the unnamed reporter forked over cash for multiple curses on him and expressing panic that the spells hadn't worked. Here we go. This is how we start our segment of the vile nature of people. First of all, Comedy Central has yanked the rerun episode of South Park that mocked Charlie Kirk on Wednesday. The episode, the second installment in the show's 27th season, which I don't watch South Park, but I understand that it has been very negative towards Trump, very much mocking Trump. It was replaced on television with the season premiere. The episode, which first aired on August 6th, depicted character Eric Cartman portraying a parody of Kirk, complete with a Turning Point USA founder's mannerisms, debate style, and haircut. After the episode aired, Kirk said that being featured on the Longtime show was a badge of honor. I think it's kind of funny, and it kind of goes to show the cultural impact and the resonance that our movement has been able to achieve. So I look at this as a badge of honor. I think it was Jack that brought this up. House Speaker Mike Johnson mourned the shooting of Charlie Kirk and held a moment of silence. We ask everyone to pray for him and his family. This is detestable, what happened. Political violence has become all too common in American society. This is not who we are. It violates the core principles of our country. After the brief moment of silence in the House chamber, Representative Lauren Boebert then rose and asked for a spoken prayer, arguing that silent prayers get silent results. Democrat lawmakers nearby erupted in dismay. Some were even heard yelling no. I don't know if... I've got to say I don't agree with silent prayers get silent results. I don't, but the chamber then descended into nasty bickering and jeering, where actually Representative Anna Paulina Luna was heard shouting to the other side, "You all caused this." The speaker eventually reined in the chaos. Now, how am I doing on time? Here we go. Distasteful Democrats and liberal pundits blame Charlie Kirk and the conservative movement he championed for his own death within hours of his life being taken by an assassin at a speaking event in Utah. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who wants to be president, and I think as of late, since Trump was elected, I think shows he doesn't have the capability to be president. He is trying to be the leader of the resistance, falling flat, very often coming off as just unhinged and violent. This is what he said yesterday. Political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6 rioters who clearly have tripped a new era of political violence. So no mention of the at least 2 attempted assassinations of President Trump. He decides, and I understand it's a little bit of a knee-jerk for him here, he has to blame Trump, or I guess maybe the MAGA movement, or even Charlie Kirk's movement, Turning Point USA, and then January 6th for the reason that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That's J.B. Pritzker, the man that wants to be president in 2026. Then you perhaps saw this, and it ultimately cost him his job. MSNBC political analyst Matthew Dowd placed responsibility on Kirk's, quote, rhetoric. This is what he said. You can't stop with these sorts of awful thoughts you have. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and then not expect awful actions to take place. That's Matthew Dowd at MSNBC. So you can't think conservative thoughts, then say those conservative thoughts without something awful happening to you. I want to read that to you again. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and then not expect awful actions to take place. That's the unfortunate environment we're in, Dowd said. Ironically, Dowd is the author of a book called Revelations on the River, Healing a Nation, Healing Ourselves. Dowd said, we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration. That's what he said originally in the broadcast. I didn't realize that was him too. I knew it was somebody on MSNBC. Yeah, so when it first happened, before Charlie had passed, they had said something to the extent of, well, there it is. We don't even know if it's a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, like it's an old Western and they're in the saloon. The way that they have to twist themselves up to make, I don't even know what the value is in coming up with that theory. We have no idea. We don't know any of the full details of this. Then why do you say that? The head of MSNBC and Dowd both apologized for the remarks. However, the latter, meaning Dowd, was reportedly fired by the network over his comments. MSNBC President Rebecca Cutler said, during our breaking news coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk, Matthew Dowd made comments that were inappropriate, insensitive, and unacceptable. We apologize for his statements, as has he. There's no place for violence in America, political or otherwise. You can't apologize after the fact, after you essentially encourage and say, well, what do you expect? You said things I don't like. Dowd later went on Blue Sky, saying, my thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. On an earlier appearance on MSNBC, I was asked a question on the environment we are in. I apologize for my tone and words. Let me be clear, I in no way intend for my comments to blame Kirk for his horrendous attack. Let us all come together and condemn violence of any kind. Senator Mark Kelly blamed political rhetoric from both sides for Kirk's death during an appearance on CNN. Senator Mark Kelly saying political violence is never the answer. It divides us. But also, I've got to say, political rhetoric, too, from both sides often gets out of hand and incites people to do things like this. Think about our words and the consequences of them, from both sides of the political spectrum. Wow. Scott Jennings said on CNN, I think people are already saying things that shouldn't be said. Today, a 31-year-old father of two and a husband is dead. There's really nothing more to say than this is unacceptable and it's wrong. There is no both sidesing it. A man is dead. He fumed over the people he said just can't stop grinding political axes and called out Pritzker specifically. I heard J.B. Pritzker blame Donald Trump today. I don't understand it. Now, again, if you are just waking up, the person of interest, perhaps when you went to bed, like I did, they had a person of interest. That person has been released. The gunman is still at large. Okay, we're going to take a break. I have a couple more examples of this. Unfortunately, in the 7 o'clock hour, which is coming up right around the corner, we'll be talking with Joe Sempolinski. So get your questions in. We're going to spend a lot of time talking Charlie Kirk with Joe Sempolinski. But because Joe traveled so far in, we do have some other New York State issues and other issues in general that I'm hoping we'll have an opportunity to discuss. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, we will be. What time is it? We will be right back.
Steuben County Office for the Aging will be hosting a public hearing on Thursday, September 18th at First Presbyterian Church in Bath. This hearing is to review the 2026 annual implementation plan for the Older Americans Act and the Steuben County Office for the Aging. This public hearing will take place at 9 a.m. on Thursday, September 18th in the Fellowship Hall of the First Presbyterian Church in Bath. Copies of the plan will be available at the Office for the Aging.
There's a going on at all three Blaze Alexander Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram stores. Let's check them out. Look, someone in Mansfield's getting a new Jeep Wrangler, a Grand Cherokee in State College. And here in Lewisburg, a new Ram truck to tow all the toys. And don't forget, we have the lowest price guaranteed.
An albino baby buffalo was born.
Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine has been seized and a bust.
Thousands lined the pier at Seneca Harbor. Race weekend brought thousands to Watkins Glen International.
Hundreds and horseheads joined other cities around the country on Saturday for the No Kings protest.
Day one of the National Glider Competition, severe flooding has caused major disruptions in parts of Steuben County.
Throughout the year, prison reform has become a priority around New York State.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. I have so many people, so I'm going to kind of paraphrase what many are saying, that those in the media, that these politicians like J.B. Pritzker and others that I have here in my stack of paperwork, they don't take any responsibility. They project. They end up blaming the victim. And I've had numerous comments like that, so I'm just kind of putting them all together. And I think they've proved that with their despicable statements. Imagine when you see a 31-year-old father of two politically assassinated, and your first thought is to blame Trump. Does that not just feed into the problem that we are dealing with? Comment from a different viewer. I think this could be a professional assassination. CNN was saying that this morning, that one of their experts on there saying that it was just too sleek, that the person had too much knowledge. It was planned out. It was someone that had obviously shot before, but I'll continue with what this viewer had to say. Or someone that had an expensive rifle that could be unscrewed and disassembled and put into a backpack, because I'm shocked that no one saw someone walking through with a rifle in either direction. I'm not sure. One of the things I heard last night, and again, I saw it at kind of a weird time where everything was still breaking, even though we knew, well, everything's still breaking this morning, but that we knew that he had passed, and it was probably an hour after that, maybe two, that I called it a night watching the coverage. But they had one person being interviewed saying that if you look at the location of that campus, you're moments away from being kind of lost in the wilderness if you are that much of a professional, or 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from the airport, which seems kind of unlikely. But I don't know if they found the weapon, though, to that viewer's point. I haven't heard. Comment from a different viewer. The left continues to show the world who the real fascists in America are. Thank you very much. And finally, and I think this is very appropriate, if the people actually listened to Charlie Kirk when he talked, he was an excellent debater. He didn't slam people for their opinions. He wanted to convince them through logic and common sense. Charlie's common sense is what made him popular with young minds. I agree. I can't tell you how many times I got lost in watching videos of him on the college campuses and just thinking, wow, the way that he pulled that off, for lack of a better term, or framed that debate was fascinating. It was like a masterclass in watching how someone can debate their opinions when they have, as Andrew Breitbart used to call it, righteous indignation, knowing that he is correct. One comment writing, no gun ever pulled its own trigger. Absolutely. Democrat Senator Murphy said Trump has to answer for creating permissiveness for violence. Senator Chris Murphy from Kentucky, listen to me. Sorry. I'm trying to see how much I can get through before Joe shows up. From Connecticut, commented on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He said, the first thing I think about is Charlie Kirk's family. Having spent way too much time with the sons and daughters and mothers and fathers of those who have fallen from gun violence, there are just no words to describe what they're going through right now. Nobody should have to live through this horror. But I'm certainly thinking about the quickening pace of political violence in this country. In an extraordinarily short amount of time, we've seen the murder of state legislators in Minnesota, attempted assassinations of the President of the United States. Obviously, January 6th still lives in our very present memory, and we've got to have a conversation about how we draw a line here. And we can't afford to argue who's more at risk, the right or the left. The fact of the matter is the shots are being fired at political figures, whether they're Republican or Democrat. There's been a permissiveness about political violence. And I do think the President of the United States has to answer for the way in which he has created the culture of permissiveness. But there have been elements of the left who have lionized and celebrated violence as well. And this is a moment for everybody to assess where we are and recognize that our entire democratic experiment is going to crumble if we don't believe that they're safe when they express their political views. I've got to say, it's not just some on the left. I was shocked. I was shocked when I went on social media last night. I realized instantly I'm not going to go on social media anymore for a while because there's a lot of people who I wouldn't have assumed, who I knew where they were politically, that I would have thought them to be better people than to celebrate the murder, the assassination of someone just because of who they voted for and how they believed. Keep in mind, Charlie Kirk was not a politician. He wasn't signing legislation that was going to change those people's lives. He was just having the debate. Like this one viewer called in, prove me wrong. That was Charlie Kirk's famous line, right? Prove me wrong. And I don't know. I don't know if I ever saw it where he was. Representative Goldman, Democrat from New York, also similarly said Trump should speak out on rhetoric from some on the right. We would urge the President of the United States to speak out against rhetoric from some on the right in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The victim blaming on this is shocking. Again, and you know, we mentioned Matthew Dowd from MSNBC being fired for his comments blaming Charlie Kirk. MSNBC's Katie Tur said that Kirk is a divisive figure, polarizing lightning rod, whatever term you want to use. Why? Because he voted and supported the movement that the American people supported in a landslide election in November. But to those in that bubble, that is a lightning rod, that is polarizing. All right, we got to take a break. I know I'm running long, so we don't have a last segment. I'm going to double back on commercials. I appreciate all the amazing comments coming in and all the kind of the sombering moments that we've been able to share together this morning. If you are just waking up, Charlie Kirk, obviously you've heard the tragic news that he was assassinated. Well, the person of interest last night has been released. The gunman is still at large, according to the FBI. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Tire World of Corning is your back-to-school tune-up authority. Family service you can trust. Save big on all brand name tires, suspensions, oil changes, inspections, tune-ups, and exhaust. We give you peace of mind this school season. Your car, your kid's car, your off-to-college car. We have all kinds of tires for all kinds of vehicles. We love tires. We love maintaining your vehicles.
I would highly recommend them.
We came in, 5 minutes, we're in and out.
Get the job done right the first time.
Tire World of Corning, family service you can trust.
It's 10 p.m. somewhere. Do you know what your kids are doing online? Brought to you by Ferrario Jeep.
This isn't your father's library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine rentals, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a Sue the Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
The Fox app is your sports app. Touchdown! Your teams, your highlights, your scores. Get more of what you want.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Steuben County Office for the Aging will be hosting a public hearing on Thursday, September 18th at First Presbyterian Church in Bath. This hearing is to review the 2026 annual implementation plan for the Older Americans Act and the Steuben County Office for the Aging. This public hearing will take place at 9 a.m. on Thursday, September 18th in the Fellowship Hall of the First Presbyterian Church in Bath. Copies of the plan will be available at the Office for the Aging.
Let's make it every day better with the Hesselson Swim Spa. Hesselson's has 6 different swim spas on display to choose from in all sizes and configurations. Exercise and swim year-round in your own backyard and start living a healthier lifestyle. But for 4 days only, this Wednesday through Saturday, save up to $10,000 on the in-stock swim spa model. Hesselson's also offers 0% interest financing options up to 5 years. Hesselson's is your locally owned and operated swim spa store since 1955. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
It's a brand new 2025 Hyundai Tucson SEL all-wheel drive featuring power liftgate and heated seats. No money down for only $369 a month for 36 months. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons.
Hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, and in that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. Good morning, Joe. It's a somber program this morning.
Yes, obviously, I think everybody's shaken by the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah, and you know, I'd have to go think a little bit before I could think of a news story that's, you know, sort of impacted me as emotionally as this one has. And, you know, I've been trying to think, you know, that last night and this morning, you know, why. And I think there's sort of 3 reasons. And one is his youth. And you're talking about a guy that's 31.
31 years old.
2, I can't stop thinking about his kids. You got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, if I got it right. They're now going to grow up without a dad.
Melania Trump's statement on that, saying that they're going to have to grow up with memories, and or how did she put it, with people talking about her dad, that the memories they've created. I'm paraphrasing,
right,
but that was.
And as you know, as a father of 2 young kids, that emotionally really impacted me. But I think the biggest reason why this hits home for me is what he was doing, and which is presumably the reason he was killed. Is there's a guy that goes to college campuses and organizes people to stand up for their political beliefs, and he will sit there and he'll engage in debate with anybody, you know, rich and poor, left and right. You know, people can come to him and say, this is my position, and I think the edge of the tent that he was assassinated under said, prove me wrong.
Yeah,
you know, it was just,
that's his famous tagline.
Just you know, that's what he wants to do, is debate people, and that's what this country is supposed to be all about. Is that we have disputes over very, very serious life or death, in some cases, issues, and we deal with it by debating and discussing and convincing and arguing and voting and campaigning for candidates, and we channel all that disagreement into nonviolent discussion and debate. And that's literally what this guy was famous for.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing when he was killed. That is what makes America the greatest society that there's ever been, is that's how we function. And so this is not just an attack on Mr. Kirk, on his family, but it's really an attack on how we do things as America, because he was, whether you agreed with anything he said or not, he was exemplary of how you're supposed to conduct yourself in public life in America, and convince people and build a coalition and build people to agree with you. And certainly I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative. He's a major voice on my side of the aisle. But it's more, to me, what bothers me is not necessarily what he said, but how he said it, and then he gets killed for it. Is really profoundly disturbing in ways I didn't fully expect. And I hope perpetual light shines on him, and I pray for his family and his kids, and it's just, this is really messed up, and this cannot be where we are.
This can't be where we are as
society.
a society. Absolutely. Yeah, I just wanted, because I thought it was so touching what Melania said, I want to quote it exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Charlie's children will be raised with stories instead of memories, photographs instead of laughter, and silence where their father's voice should have echoed.
Right.
I mean, they're so young.
And I think I don't know how close they were to him. The reporting I saw, his family was at least at the event. They were at least on campus. I don't know if I pray to God the kids didn't witness it.
No.
And I've seen the video. I had somebody tell me you probably shouldn't see it, and I happened to stumble across it about a minute later, and it's
I had people
shocking.
send it to me.
Yeah.
Thank heavens I don't have a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Because you have to sign in, I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah, that's how I saw it as I was scrolling Twitter, and I saw him shot, and I was when I saw that, I knew it's. Yeah. I'm not a medical professional, but it was pretty clear that this was a serious situation, and I was pleasantly surprised that at first, there was reports he was stable, but. Where it ended up was, if you see the video, it's where you expect things like that to end up.
Horrible. Comment came in this morning, Joe, and I want to read to you since you're in the studio. I'm certain that you will be inundated by viewer comments as we're all sitting here stunned, sad, and sick about Charlie Kirk's assassination. I've been a follower of his on podcasts and been amazed by his ability to talk to people and get them engaged and stand up for his religious beliefs without apology and fear.
Sure.
He gave hope to our youth at a time when things are grim, and gave me hope for their future as well. Joe Sempolinski made a Facebook post this evening, and please let him know it was spot on.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you did. I quit social media.
Yeah.
Almost about 3 minutes after he was there. It's vile.
Yeah. So if you
not yours. Not yours.
Thank you. I thought mine was kind of thoughtful.
Yeah, yours is great.
But if you go through, you can sort of see in real time, and for something like this, it's not my staff, it's me, and sort of saying, I'd heard he was, I heard he had been shot from another member of the assembly. I was on a phone call with a fellow assemblyman, and he's, did you hear Charlie Kirk was shot? And so I sort of, hey, sad things coming out of Utah. I just sort of denounced all political violence, and prayed for him, and then obviously he passes, and my reaction sort of moves toward what I just said, which is, this guy, all he did was talk to people. And so you can see my statement on my Facebook and on my Twitter, and the sum and substance of it is, this is a guy that did everything that is right about America insofar as how he went about conducting himself politically, and was murdered for it. And you got kids that are going to grow up without a dad.
Yeah.
And so it's this is a very cowardly act by whoever did it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope whoever did it is very swiftly brought to justice. And
it was very difficult this morning to wake up and find out that the person of interest was released, because when I went to bed, I thought they had the person. So now
they sort of grabbed him,
still at large.
And I've seen video where, all I know is what I see online. Right. So I have no inside knowledge of anything. I'm reacting to this just as everybody else did. Yeah. But where you have one video where somebody sees somebody on the roof, and then there's another one where. Mm-hmm. In the pandemonium after the shot, there's sort of a guy you can just sort of see running a little bit.
I saw the roof picture. I didn't.
So presumably this is somebody that was at distance as opposed to somebody in the crowd or what have you, which raises a lot of other questions as to how professionalized is this or what have you. So I just hope that this murderer is found very quickly, and we determine how this happened and why this happened. But I can think of, I'm sure we'll learn more in the coming days, but clearly this is a political assassination. This wasn't a random act.
And can you imagine? I know he got fired, but that Dowd from MSNBC first saying that we don't know if it was someone in the crowd celebrating.
Yeah, shooting off that was sort of an attack, I think, on people that are
pro
Second Amendment or Charlie Kirk fans that somehow they would yeehaw.
It's like an Old West saloon.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some pretty offensive stuff that's been posted on social media reacting to this, and I will give credit where credit's due. From what I've seen from liberal and Democratic leadership, it's been mostly very thoughtful. It's maybe not exactly how I would say things, but in many cases, but some of the just random people online who sort of feel the willingness to sort of say horrible things about him because they disagreed with him politically. Listen, no one should be murdered for their political beliefs, left, right, or center, whether you agree with them or disagree with them. Certainly, I agreed with Charlie more than I disagreed with him, but that's irrelevant. What's relevant is two kids don't have a dad.
Right.
And he was doing what makes America good, which is debating your ideas, and this was the exact opposite of that.
Well, and if you think about it, when he started Turning Point USA, it was right around 2012. That's when, it was probably around that time when we were being told that words are akin to violence.
Yeah, right.
So if I say something you don't like, you then, even though it's not violent, you have a right to then get violent with me.
Right.
Remember, that became very prevalent on college campuses. Yeah. So that's a little bit of what we're seeing and anecdotally on some of the social media that I saw last night. That was kind of the idea. I don't like what Charlie Kirk said or how he felt. So victim
there's some perverse stuff out there I've seen.
I've lost a lot of respect for a lot of people, but I think it's a testimony to how much he accomplished in the conservative movement at just 31 years old.
Yeah, I've seen some people online referring to this as almost like a pre-presidential assassination.
Yeah.
Like this is somebody that
I saw a couple people saying that.
You could imagine. He certainly was not a candidate for president or anything, but you could have imagined in future decades this being the type of person, because of his following, that could be somebody that ran for the highest office in the land. Obviously, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
So I think also some of the reaction is the level of influence, especially with younger conservatives.
Look at even RFK Jr. Tweeting out some to the extent of basically comparing him to his
compared it to the death of his own father
and uncle.
This is a major political assassination because of Mr. Kirk's influence on the discussion on the discussion of our politics. Again, I come back to that. He just wanted to have a discussion, and present his opinion, and was willing to let you present yours.
He actually wanted to hear, and I always appreciate this. You could tell he wanted to hear from the people who disagreed with him a lot more than the person that got up there with the MAGA hat. And, and I get it. I understand that mindset. A comment from a different viewer. Rest in peace, Charlie. The Lord will take care of your family, and we have your back. Very nice.
There you go.
Now, I want to just tell people a little disclaimer here, because I've got some other questions. We are going to change from the topic. We understand the seriousness of what happened with the Charlie Kirk assassination, but and to thank you, Joe, because you travel great distance to be in the studio, so it's only fair to have you in and talk about some New York State issues. So people can please, I know it's been very cathartic for all of us this morning. Please keep those comments coming in. We're going to read those comments because I understand it. I felt the same way this morning. I needed someone to talk to about it, so we will do that. But I don't want to spend the whole show on it because it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and we're going to be thinking about it for a long time.
This is a rough one, and this is going to have major implications on our politics and our society.
Before we go to break, I think you've been on here, Joe, when we had Karen sends in a quote of the week. So Karen, she wants to make the name Karen great again. So I thought that was very nice. So she sent one already in this week, but she sent one in, and I thought this was very appropriate. And she said, she's doing it obviously because it's in honor of the life and death of Charlie Kirk. It's a quote from Charlie Kirk. It is part of our human nature to want to be liked. It's part of our human nature to worry about what others think of us. It is an attribute of greatness and of American exceptionalism to not surrender to our nature, but to be guided by an inner calling to persevere and to prevail no matter the personal cost. How appropriate this morning.
R.I.P. Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Please stay with us.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. vote on the daily question, and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/BigFoxNews.
This is a Collector Consumer Alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's Blaze and Family Dealerships. We're a family, and I try to emphasize that.
At Penn State Wrestling, we preach excellence and try and strive every single day to be better than we were the last. It's very clearly resembled here at Blaze Alexander, and Blaze as a man and who he is.
You've got to repeat the process so many times to get it right. But once you get it right, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it the same way every time, every day without fail. No exceptions, and it works.
Blaze Alexander, where champions strive.
In a few words, Urkel, glasses, nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5:30 on Big Fox. Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the Southern Tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horsets. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. Joe, there's questions from viewers. Again, people can write in at any time to talk about Charlie Kirk. We'd love to. I thought this was very appropriate. It's 9/11. Never forget. And yes. I do want to highlight, before we talk about this, that the 11th Annual Tri-County First Responder of the Year Award and the ceremony will be held today at 11 a.m. in Gang Mills at the First Responder Honor Park on the corners of South Hamilton Street and Forest Drive. Yeah. I haven't missed that in probably 10 years.
That is a great event. I've attended that several times. I was there.
You were there as Congressman.
I was there as Congressman-elect.
Oh,
I hadn't actually been sworn
in
yet.
Yeah.
I was sworn in just like a couple days later. And no, they do a great job. So if you're in the going to be in the Corning area around that time today, I would recommend going over there. It's a wonderful park they have. You can go anytime and look at it and see. It honors local first responders and what have you. So it's they do a really, really good job. Amazing it's job. One of the better 9/11 commemorations that are happening in the area. But just I would say overall. Obviously, this is a somber day already, but 24 years ago, what happened on 9/11? It's another thing I'm never going to forget. I was a freshman in college, and I literally in Washington D.C. I went to college in Washington D.C. I watched the Pentagon burn with my own eyes, and because you could see it if you went up on a rooftop on campus, you could look across the river and see the Pentagon. Wow. So it's what I like to remember about 9/11 is the heroism. That's why I like the Irwin event, because it focuses on the folks responding
today
to the terrorist
and in the
attack.
Yeah, and the attack.
That's right, and putting their life on the line to try and save other people, and so. We remember all the victims of 9/11 today, but also we thank those who are in our community right now, fire, police, EMTs that are willing to run into catastrophic situations to try and save others. We've got certainly heroes among us in all of our communities, and especially those who do it as volunteers. I want to highlight that. I obviously have great respect for those who are in the paid service, but also I want to highlight the folks. There are folks in our communities that run into burning buildings, be because they just think it's
for
the right
the
thing to
love
do
of
for
their community and their neighbors. Yeah. But that is an amazing ceremony. If you have an opportunity to make it, I plan on attending as well. We are going to, again, it's a heavy show this morning. We're not going to deny it, but we do have some things we have to talk about because what's been very popular, and one of the viewers wants to ask about, and it will tie in with it, which is a natural gas ban. Yeah. How has the 2024 World Energy Tour went? With you and Phil Collins?
So
do you have concert T-shirts?
Everybody knows this. Frank had texted me a few days ago scheduling which day I'm going to be on the show, and what we thought we were going to be talking about was energy, because there's been a lot of attention of it over the last week or so because NYSERDA, the state energy development arm, has been doing public hearings about the draft energy plan, which is the plan for the state for its energy future, and the person who has you get the concert T-shirt with all the names on the back of the locations is Mr. Palmisano.
Yes.
So my friend Phil is our ranker in the Assembly on Energy, and so the first of these hearings was in Buffalo, and so Phil, texted me, said, "Oh, you should come up to Buffalo and testify and be at the press conference." Like, all right. So I go up, and then Phil tells me he's going to all of them. He's going to Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, whatever. I think the Albany one was yesterday. And so he is very diligent in his role as energy ranker. And when I went up there and what I testified to, and you can again see that on my social media, some of my commentary on it, there's a lot of concerns about how this is going to impact ratepayers, changes in how we handle energy and over the next coming years. And the worry I have is you have people, especially in my district, very rural, that are just above the poverty line, that are living paycheck to paycheck, and they can't absorb a massive increase in rates, and they're certainly not going to see the benefits in the way that I think some of my colleagues on the left are talking about them, because they're talking about the very broad societal benefits, but you're the one that's got to pay up front. Now, I will give credit where credit's due. I'm pleased that the state is moving toward increasing embrace of nuclear power. I think it's because they realize they can't hit their energy production goals
not even close.
Without it. So that's something that is a positive. What is being specifically referred to is starting next year, and this is already the law on the books, that if you're building new construction, you can't have natural gas. We had a bill go through the legislature this year. There's what's been practiced for many years is the 100-foot rule.
Yeah.
So if you are getting a new gas hookup, presumably if you combine it with the law about no new construction, this would be a new gas hookup on existing construction because the other's already been banned. But if you're within 100 feet of the existing gas infrastructure, the utility has to hook you up for free. The law that has been passed in the legislature would say that, this is this year's law, that you would have to pay for that. And so the goal of all this is really to choke off the growth of the gas infrastructure. And so, this is in my district, this is a life or death issue. And we simply don't produce enough juice to electrify everything. We don't have the network, the transmission lines to transmit that energy. And when the power goes out in a blizzard, you want to be able to keep from freezing to death.
There's a reason why hospitals are exempt, right?
Right. Yeah.
For safety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so if you have exemptions there for safety, why can't everybody be exempt for safety? So when it comes to energy, this has been my position for decades. If you want an electric car, go buy an electric car. If you want to put solar panels on the roof of your house, put solar panels on the roof of your house. You want to burn wood in a stove, burn wood in a stove. Do what you want to do. But don't force communities and don't force people into a particular thing for particular, political purposes. And if the market produces cleaner, greener energy that is cost effective and does the job, people will purchase it. Yeah. And it will happen organically, and it will happen without, Big Brother telling you what to do. And so my position is for freedom. My position is for safety. My position is for protecting the ratepayer, the little guy that's just trying to pay his energy bill and keep his lights on and feed his kids. I don't want to, hurt that person. No. So we've got some misguided people directing the state's energy policy in a very misguided way. And I went and expressed those beliefs of my constituents. I spoke for my constituents at the Buffalo hearing. And if you're a constituent of Mr. Palmisano, you're very well represented because he's going to every hearing.
Yeah.
And all across the state. He's on the full tour, and I greatly admire Phil. Phil's like my big brother for his passion in taking very seriously his role as our lead on energy in our conference.
Yeah. He does a great job. Listen to this, Joe, just as we talk about kind of the failed policies coming from Albany. This was on Drudge Report this morning. U.S. warns hidden radios may be embedded in solar-powered highway infrastructure. This is not the first time that this has happened. This is from Reuters. It's not, but they said some of these solar panels had technology from China when they looked over the blueprint that there was pieces in there that weren't supposed to be there as some type of way to like shut down the grid. You know how there's been the hacking
so the
of
concern
like
is because it's Chinese produced that they're sort of baking into it.
Yeah, now in this case, radios.
Well, this raises other issues where we're in a situation where we're dependent on communists for a lot of the materials that go into this infrastructure. So we have a lot of resources in the United States. I would hope that we can find ways to extract resources, extract them safely and reliably and with concern for the environment, but don't rely on supply chains of our greatest global rival, the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah, exactly. We better take a short break. Keep those comments coming in. Obviously, as we said, it's been cathartic this morning. You can keep weighing in on Charlie Kirk. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Appreciate everybody who's sent in so far. But since Joe has come into the studio, we have some New York State issues and some federal issues. So we'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is a Sue the Collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
It's Blaze and family dealerships. We're a family, and I try to emphasize that.
At Penn State Wrestling, we preach excellence and try and strive every single day to be better than we were the last. It's very clearly resembled here at Blaze Alexander and Blaze as a man and who he is.
You've got to repeat the process so many times to get it right. But once you get it right, you just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it the same way every time, every day without fail. No exceptions, and it works.
Blaze Alexander, where champions strive.
In a few words, Urkel, glasses, nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5:30 on Big Fox. Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the southern tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. That's our Frankly Speaking roof cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski. We got some comments from viewers here, Joe. The ban on natural gas is a way to be too intrusive and stinks of communism. Okay. Mark writes in, the Democrats are constantly calling Trump a dictator. But what is the difference when Hochul wants to get rid of natural gas and we have no choice?
Yeah, the energy stuff's gotten a lot of attention. This is something that I remember when...
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, if you remember where it was sort of floated getting rid of gas stoves a couple years ago. At the time, I was my predecessor in the Assembly's chief of staff, and suddenly 80% of the phone calls we got into the Assembly office were... that's so-and-so.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
People used a little stronger language
Sure.
than that, but we're on, the public airwaves. Better not take my gas. So people really react to it. And I think where it comes from is in the Southern Tier, area I represent, the area in broadcasting here, people want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Just let me
live my life.
Live my life. And, my home is powered, heated by gas. I have a gas burner. Gas comes in, we burn it, and it goes through steam pipes through my house. And so I'd be certainly one of the people where if I had to convert to an electric situation, my home was built in 1860.
Yeah, so you got some update in the
there are older homes in Canisteo, but there are not a lot of them. I have an old one. And I would be personally on the higher end of the tens of thousands of dollars it would take to convert. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And have people, from downstate where the energy they use is as dirty gets. Yeah. Tell people upstate where we get most of our power from either hydro or nuclear.
Yeah.
How to live our lives and it rubs people the wrong way, and it should. It's gotten quite a reaction, and I'm proud to fulfill my role speaking for my constituents on this issue and go before the powers that be in the state and tell them exactly what the people that I am paid to represent think. Yeah. And that's my job. We have legislative functions, we have constituent service functions as an assembly member or a senator or a congressman or whatever. But the core of it, the reason that my vote has authority is I was chosen by the people. And so I take it seriously when I go to these public comment hearings. I'm not speaking for Joe Semblinski, I'm speaking for 135,000 people in Steuben, Allegheny, and Cattaraugus counties.
Joe, this is a comment from a different viewer. We need Elise Stefanik, Joe. Can you talk to her about running for governor? Come on, Joe.
So listen. I think very personal. This is just personally very highly of Elise as far as how she's interacted with me over the years. I first met her when she was first running for Congress. Whatever it was, a decade ago. Yeah. Was very impressed with her, and when I was nominated to be the Republican nominee in the special election in the summer of 22 for Congress, I didn't have to go looking for her for support. She called me. Yeah. She picked up the phone, called me, and said she was going to donate, and she was going to endorse me and tell people to support me and make sure I got on committees as member leadership, despite my short term. And she did all of that. She was very good to work with. I served on committee with her, the Education and Workforce Committee when I was in Congress. So all my personal interactions with Elise have been awesome. Yeah. And I will say I have been in contact with the Congresswoman. I've been in contact with the Congresswoman's staff. And I am certainly, we need a new governor.
Yes.
And I can't speak for Elise. She hasn't told me some secret timeline or something.
Just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, right. No, there's nothing like that.
But she has said herself, it's not if, it's when.
I was in the room.
Yeah.
I was in the room when she said that.
Yeah.
She said that in Buffalo at an event for Nick. And again, I've had direct interaction with her since then. And I spoke to her directly that day. So I think she would be a formidable candidate for governor. I think of the people that are considering running, she would give us the best chance to win. I think if she says she's doing it, she is our nominee,
hands down. Yeah,
without any primary whatsoever. And we have to have a new governor. So I would certainly welcome her entering the race, and I would also welcome the defeat of Governor Hochul in the next election.
I do want to talk about that comment she made at the Black church. Did you see that?
Yeah, that was offensive.
Yes. Okay. But before that, let me ask you this, because people have asked this, and I think it's a serious question. So Elise Stefanik, when Mike Lawler dropped out, made it sound as if she was going to wait till after the elections in November to decide.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid. What happens if she says no after that? Then what will we do?
Yeah, that's a concern. I know there are other people thinking about it. There's talk about the Nassau County Executive, Mr. Blakeman, or whatever. And I don't think Bruce would primary Elise. I think if Elise says,
doesn't he have a re-election right now?
She does. Yeah, he's up for re-election.
Busy. Yeah.
So he's he's got a November timeline too. So I think it's if Elise says she's running, she's the candidate.
Yeah.
Period. And I think everybody on the Republican side will rally around her almost instantaneously. Mm-hmm. And I think she would have. And I don't know. I haven't talked to the president, but I would. The president already tried to put her in the cabinet, so I would assume that there's positive there. So, and
he convinced Lawler, he
endorsed Lawler for Congress, and Mike and
2 years out, or whatever.
So, it looks like that maybe. Again, the only reason I'm hesitating is I don't want to get in front of her and say that, because she hasn't said yet. She hasn't said what she's doing.
But boy,
but I would say she is formidable. Mm-hmm. If you've watched any of the questioning she has done to either governors or university presidents, most of whom aren't university presidents anymore.
Exactly.
You'll be very impressed by her. Like I said,
she's in Hochul's mind.
She's in Hochul's head. There's no doubt about that, and she should be, because Hochul should be worried about Elise Stefanik. Elise Stefanik's an A-level political
she's got the name,
talent.
And the fundraising is
and what's different about Elise, and this is no negative toward Lee or Marcus or Carl or Mark or any of the folks that have been our previous nominees. When I'm out and about, we just had the question here on the air, but this happens when I'm out and about, just
more often
out
than not.
doing things.
Yeah.
People come up to me and say, "Is Elise running?"
Yeah, what
Is
do
she
you
gonna
know?
do it?
Yeah.
And the level of, and I don't represent her district.
No,
she's in North Country. I'm Southern here, so it's not like we're in her area or something. So on the other side of the state, grassroots people, base voter people, staunch Republican people are coming up to me saying, "Is she doing it? Is she doing it? Is she doing it?" Yeah. So like I said, I'm. If you're asking me, am I talking to Elise Stefanik? The answer is yes. I've been talking to Elise Stefanik.
Good.
And I think Elise Stefanik is really good.
Good. So. But Hochul saying that. Well, so first of all, the reason I mention that, because every time Hochul says something, it seems like Elise is responding.
Yeah,
which
good.
Which is great. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, she's very good. Elise is great at that.
It sounds like she's campaigning. So Governor Hochul, if you don't know, I brought it up yesterday. She was at a largely black church, and I'm not sure what part of the state she was in. And she was talking about the inflation refund checks.
Yeah.
And she told the church not to go out and buy booze with their incoming state inflation refund checks. And I'd also add that made it not even worse than that. She said, buy food for your children.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a insult and a lecture.
Yeah.
It would be the end of most careers.
Yes.
Okay, we can agree.
So, that was very offensive, and the lieutenant governor didn't seem to like it.
No.
Who is her primary opponent, and the lieutenant governor is an African-American gentleman.
It reduces whole communities to harmful stereotypes and strips away the dignity of parents and children alike.
Yes.
Antonio Delgado.
Lieutenant governor.
Some people speculate that's who's in the costume of Frankie Focus. So he can still get the paycheck of being lieutenant governor.
Poor the lieutenant governor. I mean, he's down to apparently one staffer. She took his email address.
Yeah, I don't even know how you could do that.
I don't know if I've told this story on the air yet, but at one point I was walking through the 5th floor of the LOB, Legislative Office Building.
Yeah,
that's the floor where my office is.
Yeah.
It's just a random floor. It's not like it's the fancy floor.
Yeah,
from it. And I ran into Delgado. He was having a meeting in the hallway because he doesn't have an office.
He doesn't even have an office.
Like, at least I got an office.
Yeah,
like if you want to come see me, you can, 548, come by. We got chairs. You can sit and talk. I got a desk. It's nice.
I feel
I have a window.
I love the fact that he's running against her.
Good. Yeah.
Good
for him.
And Stefanik has talked about it. I mean, I just think,
and good for Elise for how she is aggressive pushing back on the governor, and I'm all for it.
I've got to take a break, but I just think it goes, and I've said it a million times on this program, you can tell Kathy Hochul should have never been governor. That's why Andrew Cuomo picked her, because she wasn't a threat.
She's out of her
depth. And she got lucky. Lee Zeldin, that was scary for her though.
Yeah.
And so now Stefanik, get out of here. But we got to take a short break.
I think there's a good chance.
I hope so.
That's where it goes.
Cross your fingers. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
The best campground?
Ask Google.
The best bait shop?
Ask Google.
The best Ram dealer?
Ask Google.
We did. Google reviews from customers rank Ferrario Ram in Elmira the highest Ram dealer in our area. And remember what Don says.
If you don't see me, I can't save you any money.
Make this the summer event. Going on now.
You lather, rinse, moisturize, repeat, and repeat. But it never feels like enough. It's not your products. It's your water. Hard water leaves a mineral residue that clogs pores and dries out hair. Culligan water softeners remove damaging minerals, revitalizing brittle hair and dry skin. Upgrade your shower and skincare routine with Culligan, water you love.
Livingston, Big Fox News, Southern Tier.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. And in that studio, Assemblyman Joe Semplinsky. First of all, Joe, we got to talk about the mayor's race. We have a question here, and this is out of New York City. Joe, what's your take on Sliwa for mayor of New York City? Can he win? I truly hope so, since the rest of the candidates are, and I quote, lunatics.
Yes, the other candidates, you've got, a communist, a sociopath, and a criminal on the other three. Yeah. I'll let you figure out which one's which.
Yeah.
So I have met Mr. Sliwa, and I'll tell you my interaction. And this was springtime, so it was before the primary and everything. I was at a dinner in Albany, and he happened to be one table over from me.
Yeah.
And so he's working the room, and I'm working the room. We run into each other.
Ironically, you're both wearing berets.
No, I can't pull off the beret the way Curtis does. And so we were sort of introduced by a mutual, friend. And I shook his hand. I looked in the eye. I just said, "I pray to God you win." And that was he goes, "Thanks, man." That was my entire conversation with Mr. Sliwa. And so, I do hope of the four candidates, he's certainly the best choice. The front runner,
pretty, according to the polls, a heck of a front runner.
Yeah, and it's starting to look like even if there is a consolidation, it just makes it competitive. It's not like it's suddenly a slam dunk if it comes down to one candidate, whether that's Cuomo or Sliwa or Adams. So, this guy, I serve in the assembly with Assemblyman Mamdani.
Yeah. How many times have you met him?
I have never met. We had like a mandatory, sexual harassment training Zoom that you got to be on as a state employee, and we were on the same one yesterday. So that's the closest I've come to talking to him, is we were on the same Zoom call.
Wow.
Briefly yesterday, but no, I've never met the guy. He doesn't show up much.
So what? He had one bill that got through last year, and he wasn't even there to vote on it.
Correct. Yes. It was at the end of session. He had one bill go through. Let's put it in perspective. He's been in the assembly 5 years in the majority, and I've been there 9 months in the minority. I think we've passed approximately the same number of bills within one of each other. So he's not a terribly serious legislator. But the positions he does hold, I think he does hold earnestly.
Yeah.
And, the way I phrased it, I had a town hall meeting a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, whatever it was. And, I had a liberal individual in the crowd didn't like me very much, and that happens. But I said, why are you bashing? I was saying negative things about Mamdani. Why are you bashing Mamdani? And I said, if it walks like a communist and it quacks like a communist, it's probably a communist.
Right.
And, I mean, some of his positions are radical. I mean, some of the things he's talked about are very radical.
The anti-Semitic, well, for instance, Steve Kuzo has a piece at the New York Post today. Can Zohran Mamdani denounce Islamic terror this 9/11 anniversary without blaming the U.S. or Israel? And that's actually a fair question to ask.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he says today as he handles things.
Because if you look at what he posts on his social media, it's copy and paste year to year.
Yeah.
There's a report out, I think it was on Empire.
Oh, does he do the same?
He uses
post
the
every
same,
year?
yeah. And it's not like he's quoting someone else and he loves that quote. It's his own quote.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not. He's quoting George W. or
some
something.
staff, I doubt that. Yeah. Some staffers going back and going, let's make it easy. Probably.
I mean, this is a guy. The mayor of New York City.
Yeah.
Is the most important local official on the planet.
Yeah.
And this guy is not anywhere near at that level. Now, the one positive thing to tie it back to our last segment, I think Mr. Mamdani may be the worst thing that ever happened in New York City. He may be the best thing that ever happened in New York State, because the mayor of New York City is still a local mayor, and a lot of what they have to do goes through the state legislature. So it makes, whether it's my friend Elise or anybody else is the Republican nominee for governor, it's a very easy argument to make, like, hey, let's assume this guy wins. If you want to block his agenda, the key is to have a Republican governor. So I think
that's a good point.
If there's a victory for Mamdani in November 25, it significantly increases the likelihood of a victory for a Republican governor in 2026, because there will be a freak out. People will lose their mind if this guy becomes mayor, and the exact people that will freak out are the exact people that need to come home to the Republican Party to allow a Republican to become governor of the state of New York.
I don't know how true it is about kind of Trump playing behind the scenes to get Adams out. I hope not, because we don't need Cuomo. Listen, I understand the reason why you want Cuomo there. Let that all work out.
Yeah, I understand the math of it, but gosh, Cuomo is.
Yeah, I know you.
Cuomo's no better. I mean,
just different.
Yeah, he's just a different type of awful.
It's just something crazy about Mamdani being like the face of the Democrat Party now.
Yeah, he is, and he will be, and he will have to own that.
Yeah,
and I think there is a significant upside to that if making this lunatic the head of the Democratic Party.
I think it was interesting because he had that forum or whatever the other day, and there was a Democrat strategist after the forum who said it goes to show that charm can't answer questions. You know what I mean? You got where you are because you have this kind of charm.
You can be really good in like
really
a 30-second TikTok clip that's heavily edited. Cut. Anybody can do that.
Yeah. All right, we got to take our last break. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
William Matar has earned a reputation for being a straight shooter.
Because I am a straight shooter.
For being honest.
Here's what we're willing to pay.
Because I am honest.
For winning a lot.
Because we win a lot.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it matters who you hire. It matters in the experience as well as the results. Call William Matar. Visit WilliamMatar.com.
Tire Warning is your back-to-school tune-up authority. Family service you can trust. Save big on all brand name tires, suspensions, oil changes, inspections, tune-ups, and exhaust. We give you peace of mind this school season. Your car, your kid's car, your off-to-college car. We have all kinds of tires for all kinds of vehicles. We love tires. We love maintaining your vehicles.
I would highly recommend them.
We came in, 5 minutes, we're in and out.
Get the job done right the first time.
Tire World of Corning, family service you can trust.
We've had many wonderful memories as a family. Dropping Shelly off at school, I prayed he wouldn't get stuffed in a gym bag. Missy might have been the one in Little League.
I'm asking the Lord to watch over my little girl.
Well, while you're at it, ask him for a win. I got money on this.
But Georgie is the one who threw us the real curveball.
I got a girl pregnant.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? We may not be perfect, but to me, we have the perfect family.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
Stu County Office for the Aging will be hosting a public hearing on Thursday, September 18th at First Presbyterian Church in Bath. This hearing is to review the 2026 annual implementation plan for the Older Americans Act and the Steuben County Office for the Aging. This public hearing will take place at 9 a.m. on Thursday, September 18th in the Fellowship Hall of the First Presbyterian Church in Bath. Copies of the plan will be available at the Office for the Aging.
If you or one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. In that studio, Joe Sempolinski. Joe, I've got to ask, because at first I think the answer would have been no, but now that you've got the excerpts from it, will you be reading, what's it called, 107 or 109? I'm bad with numbers. 107, the former Vice President Kamala Harris's book.
Well, I should write 112. That's how long I was in college.
Oh, yeah. Did you spend $2 billion?
No.
Let's make that clear.
For the record, I didn't trade any stocks either.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
she's calling it reckless, and it was weird because she said something to the extent of like, it shouldn't have been left up to somebody's ego. But isn't that kind of what she admitted that she did with her ego by not daring to tell him or anybody? It's a weird, typical Harris answer.
She's got it. She's in the same conundrum that she describes in the excerpt.
Yeah.
Which is, if you start, bashing the guy, well, then there begs the question: if this is such a real big problem that you saw this guy was incompetent,
where were you?
Shouldn't you have done the right thing and told everybody?
Yeah.
But it was self-serving or whatever. And so she's got to spin it,
and she has to put it in, or there's no books.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Right. So she's, she's in the same conundrum that meant that she couldn't win the presidency, which is, oh, what a shame.
I just couldn't believe it, because they said that the people that surround Biden were almost threatening. Did you read that in the Post? So this is a while ago. If you throw Joe under the bus, we're going to come out with the unflattering. I hate this term. They called it Palin-esque, which I think that's such an overrated thing by Democrats, because I think she got more votes for McCain than McCain did. But anyway, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But if you look at it, they were saying that, well, we'll make her look embarrassed and bad. She kind of did that herself.
Yeah, she kind of did that herself just because she's not a very good candidate.
She got ahead of it too,
this, sort of blame game going on, where nobody wants to be the one that cost the Democrats the presidency. And I think there's plenty of blame to go around. Do I think it was wise for Biden to stay in the race as long as he did? No, that was what he should have done. Is probably the day after the midterm say I'm not running, and allowed for a real primary as opposed to a coronation that happened. Harris was not a good candidate.
No.
As you pointed out, they spent gargantuan sums of money, and it went. It's like they lit it on fire. It didn't move voters at all. So so the people that were around Biden did a bad job. Biden did a bad job. Harris did a bad job. The people around Harris did a bad job. The Democratic Party was sort of exposed as there are no political geniuses behind the curtain.
No, exactly.
They still haven't figured out why they lost. They still haven't just decided, hey, let's be normal.
Right.
That's as simple as it is. If they stopped acting like normal people and they called us weird.
Yeah, exactly. That was their famous line.
The governor of Minnesota's
balls. How soon you forget, Joe?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
what was his name again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that guy. Whatever.
The manly man or whatever.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to appeal to
the alpha male or whatever.
Come on. Yeah. So they really had no idea what they were doing. They still have no idea what they're doing, and the book shows or at least the excerpt. I'm sure I will not buy the book. No. That they still can't figure out. They're more worried about who to blame than figuring out how to win the next election. So, as a Republican,
we'll let you figure it out.
When the Democrats are in flummox mode, that don't bother me none.
No. So hey, Joe, because we've talked about everything else. How's things going at the local level? It's getting that time of year.
So it is a local election year. We have contested races. We've got contested city council contested race in the city of Corning. We've got several city council races in Hornell. We've got a couple county legislative races in the southeast Steuben area, so not in the city of Corning, but surrounding the city of Corning. So town of Corning, town of Hornby, town of Caton, town of Irwin. So I'm very pleased with the candidates we've got. They're working hard, and I would encourage folks, even though it is an off year, what happens at 25 sets the table for the 26, which sets the table for 28. So we do need people to remember to get out and vote, and there are a lot of local town races too as well. So a lot of local officials that are on the ballot, and again the top contested races are in the two cities and in the towns surrounding the city of Corning. But no matter where you are, get out to vote, because we're going to have judge races that cover the entire Steuben County. And we need to get the votes from Steuben County out to counter the votes coming out of the city of Rochester for our Supreme Court judges. So if you're within the sound of my voice, I encourage you to get out and vote all the way down the Republican ticket, and you will not be disappointed.
No. Before we go, Joe, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all the viewers. I think at least this last segment was kind of last couple segments was nice to kind of get our mind off of the day. Not just, of course, remember the 24th anniversary of 9/11. It's amazing to think when you see a 24-year-old walk by that they don't remember. I mean, people in the New York Fire Department working there that weren't even born.
Right.
It's amazing. So it's something to remember. Of course, I hope we see everybody over in Irwin at 11 o'clock. But also, of course, because of the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk. If you're just joining us, the person of interest was released last night. Gunman's still at large. I just checked before we went back on the air. It's a tough day anyway on 9/11, but this is one for conservatives and people that even follow politics. I would hope that everybody can take a moment. I know this is what you're not supposed to say, but offer thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I would say, God bless Charlie. I know he's in a better place, and we pray for him, and we pray especially for his wife and his kids. Man, that's
heartbreaking.
Rough.
And I mean, the fact coming off the heels of that debate that people had where you couldn't say thoughts and prayers, which I thought, not to turn this political, but which is another non-winning position to take.
Right, yeah.
When
Coming out against prayer.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is a time, and I know Vance said it, so many people said it, talk about a time where I hope people realize why we say thoughts and prayers.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I knew he had been shot, but before he died, I prayed for him to live.
100%.
I know that millions of other people around the country are lifting up Charlie and his family in prayer right now.
The New York Post had two pieces. One was Charlie Kirk was all about debate. This killing is an attack on free speech itself. I agree. And
Absolutely.
Miranda Devine, and this is something we're going to have the conversation about if we're going to be serious. Charlie Kirk's assassination is the latest case that the U.S. is suffering from an epidemic of leftist violence. And I think it's a conversation. If we're going to have, they always say we need to start the conversation.
I served in Congress with Steve Scalise.
Yeah.
The man still walks with a limp from surviving an assassination attempt, and that was very nearly 15 members of Congress that were killed. If Steve's security detail hadn't been there, you would have had a significant portion of the Republican caucus and the Congress wiped out. So this isn't the first incident within very recent memory.
Well, Joe, thanks for being on the show. Thank you again to everybody who sent in. I hope you let us be a distraction for you for a moment on what is going to be a very difficult day and a while, we'll put it that way. So, Joe, thanks for being on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah. All right. Join us tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Let's start making every day better with a Hesselson's hot tub. Hesselson's has over $500,000 of inventory that must be sold. Savings up to 50% off. Every hot tub in stock save $1,000 to $5,000 off Hesselson's already low prices. Plus, free chemicals, free steps, free lifter, and free Bluetooth music. But for 4 days only, this Wednesday through Saturday. Hesselson's, your locally owned and operated hot tub store since 1955. So Hesselson's will be here for you today, tomorrow, and for years to come. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.